sounds like a Knock Loose track straight away. This is some caveman shit right here. But these hairs never end. When I close my eyes and go straight to hell. So I stay awake for love. I'm not feeling like I'm dying. My body's shutting down and out and out of the idea. How to cope and break the cycle. All I know is that I'm fucking tired. Oh God, just anyone make it stop. And let's give me a night off. Cause I'm desperate for rest. I'm getting less and less after years of self-neglect. That was a weird little switch up. You haven't seen what I have seen, so there's no need to even try to relate to me. What? The things I've seen still fucking on me. Am I sleep? Why do I keep having this fun spinning in its sleep? It's not my own mind, it's battling me. Living life for repeat, unable to break free. Sick. That was Throne with a track called Nights. That is brand new. Let me add that to the playlist. Fuck it, why not, man? So I've kind of got mixed opinions on Throne. Although all of the music that I've really heard from them has fucking ripped, to be fair. It is sick. The production sounds great. It's Buster. Grooves are always on point. So angry. The perfect gym music. Like, I mean, it's cliche to say, but it's just perfect gym music. But it does also, like, obviously we had the conversation at the start as to, you know, how they became so popular. Obviously they sound great. The tone of the guitars is fantastic. It's also chunky. It's so tight. But there's so many bands that do very similar sounds to them. So it's like, why these guys? The length of the track, I think, is a big part to play in it. They don't linger around too long, where it gets to the point where you're kind of like, you know, it does feel in the most respectful way possible to Throne. This isn't like saying anything negative, because I guess associating anything with TikTok is always, you know, received pretty negatively. It has like negative connotations to say like this is a like TikTok brain track. But for a 2 minute and 5 second long track to have like there was a good 3 or 4 obvious switch ups in that track. So to me, although that is really sick, and I do put it into that category of like a really solid gym track, I do feel that it can be hard to like make these tracks memorable because it doesn't stick around in any section for long enough for me to like associate the sound of the track with that. To me, there was like a really obvious like melody or motif in the track that we played before this, which was called On The Verge. That was the first track I heard by them. And of course, they still have all of those heavy elements in there that are really fun. Production again sounds great, but there's that like that kind of like continues as a theme throughout the track. So it kind of like gives you something to kind of remember the track by, and it makes it just something that I feel like you can go back to a little bit more. But something like this, as fantastic as it is in terms of just paying for what you're getting, it does feel a little bit unmemorable to me, you know. Is experimental accepted by the masses though? I think Sleep Token is an outlier case. True, but I don't even necessarily mean that, like not in that way, like it has to be experimental to be accepted by the masses, but more so this doesn't necessarily have any like, how do I explain this? Like Throne aren't a band that are doing something mad unique, because there's so many bands that sound like Throne, if that makes sense. Now obviously they have Buster on the mix, and it does sound real chunky and fun. If you're just like really, obviously like if you really want to go into it, maybe there's not a lot of bands that sound exactly like Throne, but from the outside looking in, they're kind of just like a lot of chugs. They're like a chuggy, angry band that screams a lot. Like for example, Alpha Wolf, I know they're a pretty big band, but like Throne have put out fuck all music and they're absolutely skyrocketing, you know. They might even have more listeners than Alpha Wolf at this point. So it just seems weird, you know. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example of like a band that did something mad unique and then kind of went viral. I know Bad Omens were already pretty big, but like that Poppy collaboration was something that you could see has like viral tendencies, where it's like, okay, you may not enjoy the song, but it has like that robotic futuristic effect. It has a cool crossover with the likes of Poppy. It's kind of cool, you know, it has a cool video. Like, this just doesn't strike me as something that should. Now, I'm clearly wrong because they've gone viral and they've really blown up, but it just kind of surprises me that it's not someone else that's like mad. Like, for me, it should be, and this is just from my own personal taste, the likes of Dante by Northlane. That was just so different. Like, from someone who listens to so much of this music, hearing like something like Dante, it's like, why isn't that what absolutely catapults and gets Northlane to like millions and millions of listeners, you know? But again, that's just my take on it. Darko's a great example. Darko are obviously big, but I feel like they're nowhere near as big as Throne from a monthly listener standpoint. You know, it's also just a timing thing, isn't it? Yeah, like they have 350,000 and they're like doing something that is so experimental and wacky that you would think that it would appeal to the masses a little bit more, because people are like, okay, this is metal. I know metal to be like Metallica, but then we have this new style that's like doing the most mental shit ever. But I guess Throne is also quite accessible just in terms of grooves. Darko is so mental that the average person might just be like, I can't do it, you know, I can't do it. So Throne just has a very like simple style, and I think that's why it's very surprising how big they've gotten, you know. But anyway, I'm done waffling. Not a bad song. 8 out of 10 for me. Chat's saying 7.8.